that is what you call it? Gang violence.
Right, yeah. Were we just having this conversation? I feel like I was having this conversation with someone else about gang violence and its behavior.
This
a lot of people get worried when there's a...
This sounds like a conversation you would have with me, but I don't remember having this. We probably did have this conversation a long time ago. I feel like this is a conversation we had when like Mike was still here. That's how long ago it sounds.
So we shouldn't talk about it anymore?
No, we can still talk about it. We can talk about whatever you want.
Yeah, man. I was just... what was I even saying? You're the king of jumping in. Like, you told me just like 20 minutes ago, stop jumping in.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm just kidding, man. What to talk about?
To be fair, I thought you were done. I thought you were just like, oh yeah, there was just, 200-something mass shootings in 2020. What did it say?
2022 so far in 2020.
Are you recording this?
Yeah.
Oh, all right.
I just decided to and not tell you because you were on a roll, so I was like, put that motherfucker on tape. Jesus Christ.
We need the CIA, the FBI, wiretapping me.
I am like them. I wiretap everybody.
All right. So I guess this is gonna be our impromptu podcast. You better figure out
how to
get this off your phone.
Yeah, I know.
And send it to me, okay?
Yeah, I gotta ask that question. I really don't.
You got to understand your own fucking phone, man. That's what you need to do.
I know, you're right.
That's what you need to do.
He is absolutely right, folks, because I'm turning into my father's. Like, I've mastered some basic skills on computers, and I don't want to go any further. I'm a lazy motherfucker.
Into a boomer. That's what you're doing.
What is that?
A boomer? You know what boomer is?
No.
It's like an old person doesn't know anything.
A boomer.
Yes.
No way I'm a boomer. Does this beard make me look that old? Oh, man. I would hate it. My parents, though, are successful boomers. Like, all the shit they went through or whatever they did in their lives, they just love to garden and walk the property and live and not talk to anyone, and it's great. It's an interesting way to live your life.
That thing's been going on for like an hour, hasn't it?
No, it hasn't.
Or is it just only a minute?
That's a minute.
Oh, never mind. Okay, I thought...
No, 2 minutes now. Yeah.
All right, 2 minutes. I don't know how much of that you actually captured. So, since we're having an impromptu podcast, like, what do you want to talk about?
We should talk about different things with the music. Like, here, I'll throw out this idea.
All right.
Like, I think it would be sick if we just wrote a song or two together. You know what I mean? Not our normal thing is you go write your songs, I write my songs, and then we get put together, and that's fine. I like that. But there's times another brain, if I'm playing a certain riff, and you're like, whoa, I know exactly what should be played under that. That could make it better, you know?
Yeah, I understand.
But other than that, what is your where are you at in writing music since Eternal Black hit the?
Oh man, that's rough. Cause like there's some things I've been wanting to do with music that I haven't really had the time to do because of life stuff. For those listening to this podcast, how do I truncate this? I crashed my car. I'm fine. Don't worry, I'm good. I was uninjured.
Allegedly fine.
Allegedly? Allegedly.
Just kidding.
Yeah, I crashed my car. I'm fine. I bought a new car and you paid it off. So now I have 2 jobs.
Jeez. Yeah. Life has the way of screwing you over.
Yeah, so things are going to be better now because like with one of my jobs, I sent them a availability, change in availability.
Yep.
So now hopefully there's not going to be any more conflict between my 2 jobs, scheduled conflicts for my 2 jobs. That being said, like I have both of us have less time to do music stuff because like you have a second kid.
I have 2 kids now.
Yeah, you have 2 kids now. I have 0 kids currently, but now I have 2 jobs. So
shit.
Yeah.
You just got to pound through it. I know it feels like every day of my life is my kids, you know what I mean? And I don't mind that because they're fun to play with and hang out with. But you do have to carve out a spot for yourself in your life to do the things that you really love. And so
did you say
that's what music is for me.
Didn't you say that you were having a problem playing guitar? Because like you can't play the guitar loud with your kids in the house or something like that?
Oh yeah, I can sometimes. Like if the baby are in the living room, that's a absolute like other side of this house. And so I do play loud when they're both up. But unfortunately, like when we have to give...
Did you say their names? Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I'm not sure if I said their names, but
just
so you get a sense of the
well,
years.
I mean, I don't... I'm not sure if the missus... how comfortable she is about you naming names on the podcast. That's what I was wondering.
Oh, it's first names. It's really not dangerous.
All right. Just being careful.
No. I feel you. And I think you have more... you have more authority on that topic. So,
why do I have more authority on that topic?
I don't know, because of whatever you're reading all the time. Like you're talking to me about this shit all the time.
To be fair, like there are certain parts of it. Like I don't know if this got on recording, but I talked about like how I hang out on like the rough side of Twitter.
Serious. My brother, and I will not name names. My brother actually tried to really convince me not to go on certain websites like Reddit, for example.
Not to go to Reddit?
Well, because he knows that I'm a very combative, kind of like hothead. And so he's like, someone, if they know a lot about shit, they'll just ruin your life, you know, with sabotage on your accounts, your computer, your whatever. Some people out there are hackers and can do that.
Yeah, like what? Have you heard of doxing?
No, I haven't heard of that.
Yeah, basically it's when let's say you're getting an argument with someone, all right, online, and then like you say something like there's nothing wrong with drunken sex, you know. It's like you upset, you get drunk, this girl you meet at a bar, she's drunk, and you guys have sex,
right?
And they're like, well, whatever, it is what it is. It's not that big a deal, you know.
Right.
And then somebody else, they read out what you said, and they think like, oh wow, this guy just gets girls liquored up and takes advantage of them.
Oh, that's absurd.
That's the point, though.
Yeah.
It's like this person's like taking things out of context,
right?
And so they think of like, okay, well, I'm gonna like dox this person to teach them a lesson, which means that like they get your personal information that's for the most part not available online, and they post it in a public area for like a bunch of people to see it. You know, it's like they'll post your name, your first and last name, your address, where you live. A lot of times they'll post the address where you work.
And this is worldwide, right?
Yeah, it's worldwide. Like somebody in
someone
Japan,
in Thailand could start cyberbullying.
Yeah, do you know anybody in Thailand?
Not Thailand.
That's very specific that you brought up Thailand.
I meant to say Taiwan.
Well, that's even more specific.
Actually, see, I got the whole nation of Taiwan on my side, man. When I was there, I was a hard worker. I blended in.
So the entire nation of Taiwan.
They should be happy I went to Taiwan for the shit that I went through.
Did you say you blended in?
I
find it hard to believe. Yes, that's what I'm saying. I find it hard to believe that you blended in. You're not super tall, but still, you're tall enough.
Right. And what was interesting was oh man, it's just crazy. People were so helpful, but you never know when helpful is real helpful or helpful is like manipulative helpful. So you're trying to do these normal social things.
Do they have roller coasters in Taiwan?
And you're with someone with a completely different culture than you, and it's crazy. It's a clash.
Do they have roller coasters in Taiwan?
Wait, what?
Do they have roller coasters in Taiwan?
Oh, I bet they do. They love to play. Like the Taiwanese, they work hard, play hard. And playing hard means going to the night markets and playing games or the arcades they have great arcades.
Yeah. You know what place I was surprised that does not have that many roller coasters? They have some, but not that many.
Yeah.
Switzerland. The reason why I was surprised by that is because there actually are. What is that? There's I think it's like B&M is a roller coaster. There's a company that makes roller coasters, and they're based in Switzerland. Oh. So you think there'd be a decent amount of roller coasters in Switzerland? You know? Like you think they'd have at least like one park that's like, you know, on par with like a Six Flags or a Cedar Fair park. You know.
That's because their people will pay for it.
Yeah, exactly. But in Switzerland, I can only find like one park that has like one roller coaster. And it's not that good of a roller coaster.
Really?
Yeah.
See, I would feel safe in Switzerland.
Yeah. Well, everybody's got a gun.
My issue...
Yeah, everybody's got a gun.
That's cool. Anybody who listen, the problem with America is that these kids who are really, for some reason, they get singled out from their peers and get ostracized, and they develop this hatred towards their peers. And I think this is what has to be addressed, not the guns. Like this is a person who, for a crazy combination of reasons, decided to do this crazy act, and I'm not much into blaming guns. I think that doesn't mean I want people who are engaged.
Speaking of the
guns.
people,
we
should just build like giant safety cells, safety cages
that you walk into.
You put people in the cage and then they lock them in the cages and they're safe. So you just build 350 million of these cages, and there'll be a cage for everyone. They'll all be safe in these safety cages.
Let's rewind a bit because I didn't get to see your full opinion on this, and I know it's going to be pretty intense. But when you saw the wait, what were we just talking about?
Safety cages.
Safety. Yeah.
No, you were talking about.
I was talking about.
You're talking about like kids being like ostracized.
Oh yeah, and eventually if they have a tendency towards violence, if they don't have a tendency towards violence, they're probably just a very grumpy person for the rest of their life. They have certain disabilities that they have to come to terms with and deal with. But these people have usually have mental illness in their life in some way, right? I'm not being one of those like Republicans who says it's mental illness. I'm just saying that we have to be honest about what's happening and why are these young people feeling so ready to kill. And it's because our culture it's okay. Our culture really lionizes that violence and
lionizes violence.
Yeah. We're like the Romans. It's like the Romans all over again. What were you going to say?
I would like to point out that these mass shootings, they are fairly rare. Like, people want to say, oh, well, they don't have it in other countries. Like, well, they're more rare in other countries, but they're still rare in the United States.
Right.
It's like there actually are a tiny sliver of the actual murder rate. So as far as like, I don't know where I was going. I don't know where I was going. I feel like I was going to go somewhere else with that. But let's see. As far as like kids being bullied. Oh, actually, I'll go this with it. You remember the Columbine kids?
Mm-hmm.
From what I've heard, that the myth, the idea that they were like loners who were bullied, and that's why they did that.
Yeah.
That's actually a myth that's just made up.
Well, I mean, they were very bright young people who created this kind of world that they were living in, which was the planning of and execution of a mass shooting in their school. Well,
what was going on with them is like, before the mass shooting, before that, it's like they actually had friends that were, they had friends. They weren't loners. There were plenty of girls who liked them. And as far as bullying, like, did they get bullied? Yeah, but no more than any other school kid. And they bullied other people as well. So they were just like, so in that regard, they were just like typical teenagers.
Yeah.
Well, the issue is that one of them was like severely depressed.
Yeah.
The other guy was he's a sociopath.
Okay.
So the deeply depressed one, which is like going along with whatever like the sociopath was like manipulating what doing.
A depressive individual is very in danger for manipulation and Go ahead, man. Sorry.
So the reason why they wanted to commit this crime, also, they did it on 420, which is Hitler's birthday.
Holy fuck.
Yeah.
And
so
it's
like,
also when we smoke weed.
Yeah, but like as far as like Hitler's birthday, like, they weren't really like, as far as I know, they weren't really like Nazis or anything. It was just, I mean, they had friends of different ethnicities,
They just hate everybody.
Yeah, no, it's just they wanted to take advantage, or the main guy. I forgot his name, but he wanted to take advantage of the 24-hour news coverage.
Right.
And so, like, that's why he wanted to commit that mass shooting.
Right. Yeah. That's intense shit, man.
Yeah, I feel like... Are we still recording?
Yeah, we're still recording. Sorry.
Yeah, I don't know. You paused it.
I paused it.
And then...
They'll never even notice. It's just like...
Yeah. Oh, man, I just lost. Oh, I will say this about school shootings, okay?
Yeah.
Like, I don't really have, like, a quick fix for, like, mass shootings in general. Mm-hmm. But as far as, like, school shootings, like, these are mostly happening in government schools. And if you look online for, like, mass shootings in, like, private schools or charter schools, like, you will be hard-pressed to find, like, one incident. I'm sure one incident has happened, but you'll be hard-pressed to finding that. But anyway, as far as, so it's primarily these government schools where this kind of stuff happens. Mm-hmm. And yet, it's the government, these politicians who work for the government, who are saying, like, yeah, give us more power, and then we'll keep... I mean, they're not saying this verbatim, but essentially they're saying, like, give us more power, and then we'll keep these schools that we're in charge of safe. It's like, you can make these schools safe now because these politicians, they all have security. All their security have firearms. So they're trying to, like, people are trying to push this idea. All right, hold on. People are trying to push this idea that, like, armed security doesn't work for schools. Miraculously works for everywhere else, but doesn't just work for schools because, reason. But if these politicians actually believe that, they wouldn't spend their money on security, or rather, they wouldn't spend our money on security. If
dude, even CEOs have security.
Yeah, I know. It's like these politicians. If it didn't work, then they wouldn't waste their time and money with all these security nonsense. Yeah. And personally, I think that we should take the security from politicians and give it to these schools. That would greatly decrease these mass shootings.
Yeah. I mean, there were a couple people in my school that I thought were probably capable of it.
Yeah.
Really messed up kids,
Yeah.
It's crazy to see that. And I've seen it from a more, not clinical because I'm not a doctor, but from a more clinical position, like working with kids who are like that. Mm-hmm. Like working with kids, like one of the kids that I've worked with at one point or another was, in my mind, definitely sociopathic.
So, was this a kid here in America or was that in Taiwan?
It was in America, yeah.
Oh, yeah. I know you worked with kids in America.
I did. I worked with autistic children.
Oh, yeah. I remember you talking about
Yeah. So, but when you're working with autistic children, it's just like regular children, really, except they have all of these interesting tendencies and whatever. But you got to kind of like learn their language,
mm-hmm.
while also teaching you our language.
Another thing about school shootings is that there are schools, like, people don't know this, but there are schools that allow teachers and other faculty to arm themselves. Mm-hmm. And so it's kind of funny when, like, I get into an argument online where I suggest that, like, teachers allow teachers and faculty to be able to carry firearms in school. Mm-hmm. There are people asking all these questions, like, how is this going to work? Who's going to pay for it? What kind of training? All this stuff. What kind of training is going to be needed for it? And it's just kind of like they're just trying to, like, basically trip me up. So, like, oh, I don't know. So it makes it sound like I don't know what I'm talking about. Mm-hmm. But I was like, dude, if you keep asking me these questions, there are schools that literally have this policy in place. You can look up these schools. You can call them up. You can ask them all of their policies and how this works.
Yeah.
And, like, so far there has not been a mass shooting at any of these schools. Have there been issues?
Well,
yes, there's been issues, but there's never been a mass shooting.
It's like throwing a dart at a map on the. There's no rhyme or reason to where this is coming from.
Well, I mean, there is some rhyme or
reason.
There's
some, a lot of times, very little though.
Well, I mean, a lot of times they focus on areas where they think there's not going to be much resistance.
The shooters do?
Yeah, the shooters focus on areas where they're, like, not going to be much resistance.
Well, they have strategies.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, the thing is about the mass shooters, like, they want their, like, a lot of times they want their final hour to be one of dominance. Until, like, the final end where they get either they surrender and get taken by the cops, or they get into a shootout and end up dying, And so, like, if they go into an area where, like, they know people are going to be armed and going to defend themselves, they're not going to have that point. They're not going to have that situation. Or actually, the likeliness they're going to have that situation is decreased.
Yeah.
also, a lot of these mass shooters have been investigated by the FBI. Like, we're kind of getting into like conspiracy theory.
Let's not go there.
Well,
You love that shit.
We're not gonna go completely into that, but it's kind of interesting, like how often, like you'll read reports how like the FBI like knew about it beforehand, and like they was unable to actually do anything about it. Either unable or unwilling to do anything about it. Like this, what's
why?
that?
The why?
What?
The why?
Why were they unable to do anything? Like,
Why did they think they were unable to do anything? They had guns. They got legs and feet and shoes on. Just walk to the school. You don't have to run. Don't fucking get a heart attack.
Oh, I just.
Oh,
I'm not saying like specifically. I'm just saying that like for whatever reason they didn't stop this mass shooting, even though like
they like
more.
We're in a
multiple
circle
times
outside, right? Just
talking. Oh no, I'm not talking about the FBI. You're talking about like the
most recent.
The most recent school shooting.
Oh, what are you talking
about? I'm talking about like the FBI because like they investigate they investigate these school shootings.
Yeah.
And there's been multiple times where like they've
that means
they were aware of the shooter before he became a shooter.
Because he fit the profile or whatever they've studied.
I don't know what's going on.
It has to be. The FBI has people with huge brains analyzing everything, all of these fucking school shootings. You can bet on that.
Here's the thing.
What?
This guy has been caught basically like planning attacks. Not necessarily like not always mass shooting, just like there's been attacks that they've planned. Mm-hmm. And then, like, they, like, foiled them. And so they show up and, like, arrest a guy and then pretend to be, like, the big heroes who, like, stops an attack. One of the most well-known ones recently was the kidnapping of that governor. I forgot what. Oh, yeah, the Michigan governor. Like, the plan to kidnap her. Uh-huh. Like, vast majority of the people involved were feds. What? And by feds, it's like, they're not, like, feds aren't necessarily people who are, like, working directly with the FBI, like a lot of times, like
governor, is she Democrat or Republican?
She's a Democrat.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's her name is Governor Whitmore, and so like a Fed can easily be just like a guy who's an informant, you know, like he's doing this, maybe he's doing this because he's getting paid, or maybe he's doing it because like they want to like let him off they're willing to like let him off the hook for something, or whatever. Yeah, those are informants, and so like a lot of these guys, like a lot of these guys in the Governor Whitmore kidnapping case, mm-hmm. they were feds. They were like informants who were working for the FBI. I think.
Wow, how do you do that? How does that begin? That kind of relationship, reaching over and trying to do shady shit with another person. You know what I mean? I wonder how that happened.
Well, I believe happened was because like it's been a while since I looked into this. What I think happened was like there was this Facebook group. I think they're called like the Wolverine Watchmen, and basically they were just like a group of friends who would like they would shoot guns, they would talk shit, and they shoot guns and they post memes, you know. And so like this guy who was like I think he was an Iraq War veteran, and he was working with the FBI, and he infiltrated this group. He like rose to the ranks and like he became like in charge of this thing. Jeez. So then he was like, okay, well, like we need to like start doing something. He started encouraging people to actually like take action, and then like the more you did that, the more and more like the original members started like to walk away. I think like at the end of it, there was only like 4 of the original people. Right. Actually, I think there were only like 4 people who weren't feds involved in this kidnapping scheme. Because like they got like explosives. They bought explosives from some dude. Right. And the dude was a fed. They were just like they were doing all kinds of like planning involved, and like all the planning was done by the feds. And there was just like only a tiny group of people who were not involved in it, and like they ended up getting like I think it was like a complete mistrial because like people would just believe that the feds were encouraging them to do all this stuff.
The feds, since they do all of this the proactive stuff, and why aren't they ever like scrutinized more closely? You know. That's
a really good question. That's a really good question.
I mean, is it just kind of like an old boys club? Is that what it is?
I think part of it is just like people who don't look into this, they just have like a trust of there are people who have a lot of trust for the cops. And there's a lot of people who have a trust for like the federal police, you know. Like the FBI and the CIA, ATF, all those people, like they have trust in those people. And so when they do like these fucked up shit, it's just like people think it's like, oh, it's just the people who actually hear about it. It's like this one-off thing. And like that's also like that kidnapping kit's another thing that like it kind of just dropped out of the media. I mean, it really should have been like a much bigger story than what it was.
Yeah. Fucking A. We've covered a lot of territory here.
Yeah.
That's good. How long have we been? Almost 30. Let's get up to 30 and then take a break and play.
All right.